Just one day after the NHL pulled the plug on a Canucks game due to COVID-19, more games have been put on ice. We'll have the latest on how the team is doing and when the Canucks are expected to resume their schedule.
More vaccines are on the way to Canada despite production delays and global export restrictions. But epidemiologists and public health say we'll need more than vaccines to bring down the third wave.
This has to apply to everyone in Canada, including those of you who have received your first and even your second dose of vaccine.
We were dating, but after I looked at it, he dated multiple women.
She lost her business and thousands of dollars. Now she's warning others about the man who she claims took it all away from her.
There are 832 new cases of COVID-19 across the province tonight, and 5 more people have died in the last day. 296 are currently in hospital, 79 in intensive care. The Easter long weekend is officially here, and Dr. Bonnie Henry is warning people to be safe this weekend and avoid travel.
If you do choose to spend time with anyone other than your immediate household in this weekend, it must be outdoors. And all of the COVID-19 safety plans and precautions need to continue to be followed. This is not the time for any of us to be traveling for leisure or vacation or getaways outside of our community. Travel is still very high risk for all of us.
More than 787,000 doses of all 3 COVID-19 vaccines have been dispensed. Dr. Henry says with a single dose, you have very good protection, upwards of 80%, and she says that lasts for many months. By the way, the province's online booking system for vaccinations is supposed to be up and running on Tuesday.
The NHL has postponed the games of the Vancouver Canucks through Tuesday, April the 6th, and is targeting Thursday, April the 8th, for the team to resume the season when they will visit Calgary. Travis Hamonic joins Adam Gaudette on the COVID-19 protocol list. The pause will mean that the Canucks will be forced to make up 4 games over the next 6 weeks.
Workers in BC may soon get paid leave to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The province's Labour Minister says changes have already been made to ensure you can book time off without fear of losing your job. What's not clear is how much time you will be allowed to book off. For comparison, the standard period for voting in an election is 3 hours.
I think the focus right now is to make sure that everyone gets vaccination when their time comes. And I think that is good for business, that is good for workers' health, and also good for the communities where they live in. Employers understand, workers understand that if the workers are vaccinated at workplaces, it gives a better opportunity for the operations to continue to operate.
By law, both part-time and full-time employees are allowed to take a family member to get a shot.
This is a new pandemic. We're now fighting a new enemy.
The Ford government announces a minimum 4-week emergency break to try and stop the third wave.
It's spreading far more quickly than it was before, and we cannot vaccinate quickly enough to break this third wave.
What the emergency break means for you and why the government isn't imposing a stay-at-home order.
Because the extent to which vaccines may prevent the onward spread of the virus has not yet been fully determined, this has to apply to everyone in Canada, including those of you who have received your first and even your second dose of vaccine.
Just under 15% of Canadians have gotten at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. But public health and epidemiologists say we'll need both vaccines and strong public health measures to control the rapid growth of COVID's third wave. Despite mounting public frustration over continued lockdowns, one epidemiologist says if Canadians can hold on for just a bit longer, the finish line is in sight.
In previous points of this pandemic, the lockdown seemed interminable because no one saw an exit strategy. The exit is now clear. We see the exit. The exit is get the shots into arms sufficiently that no more infection takes place and that transmission goes down and that new variants do not emerge. That's the exit plan. It just needs time to work.
In total, about 7.4 million vaccine doses have made it to provinces and territories, a figure expected to reach 9.5 million by end of week. But growing vaccination rates are matched or exceeded by growing case numbers. Dr. Howard New issued a warning ahead of the Easter long weekend, noting that previous holidays have led to avoidable surges in COVID.
Stay home and only with the members of your immediate household. Even if you have family members, I think, in the same city, especially in a part of the country where there's obviously a resurgence, have a virtual celebration and connect through other means, but don't get together indoors, especially for the long weekends.
With frustration mounting over vaccine access and provinces blaming the federal government for short supplies, Public Health has released a province-by-province breakdown of doses delivered so far. This comes as Public Health confirms the Serum Institute will meet its Canadian contracts, but Indian export restrictions will delay delivery. Meanwhile, a delayed shipment of European Moderna doses is now on its way, while 1.5 million AstraZeneca doses from the U.S. are being distributed now. Dr. New says he understands public fears over possible AstraZeneca side effects, but emphasized that the data says it works and is safe.
If you look overall, I would say that the AstraZeneca vaccine is safe and effective. 20 million doses plus have been administered worldwide, and only a few of these very rare side effects have been reported.
All this as Pfizer-BioNTech secures its status as the public's preferred vaccine, with new data from Pfizer's longest COVID vaccine study yet. Tracking nearly 12,000 people over 6 months after vaccination, the study finds that the vaccine is 91% effective at stopping COVID and 100% effective at stopping severe COVID. In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.
BC's Human Rights Tribunal is taking action following many complaints about COVID-19 mask rules. It says anyone denied service for refusing to wear a mask must be ready to prove they have a disability if they intend to file a complaint. A tribunal member published his findings in the case of a woman who claimed wearing a mask made breathing difficult and caused her anxiety. He rejected her claim that her human rights were violated when a security guard asked her to leave a store, saying she did not offer any facts to explain a disability that might prevent the use of a mask. The man accused in last weekend's stabbing attack in North Vancouver appeared in court today. Yannick Bandeogo appeared in court and is charged with second-degree murder. He was supposed to appear in court on Monday, but refused to leave his jail cell. The 28-year-old was taken into custody on Saturday afternoon in Lynn Valley, where a young woman in her 20s died and 6 others were seriously hurt. A motive for the attack is still not clear. He is due back in court next Wednesday on April the 7th. The North Shore community is rallying behind a small business that went up in flames earlier this week. Meal prep company Feed Me Fit shared the same building as the North Vancouver Masonic Centre near Lonsdale Avenue and 12th Street. The hall was targeted in one of 3 arson attacks on Tuesday. The brick-and-mortar storefront was a big step for owner Vanessa Stonehouse, who first launched the business out of her kitchen. Stonehouse says it's already been an extremely tough year for her small business.
It's just traumatizing to see the last 6 years of your life burn in front of you. And I stayed here until 1 o'clock in the morning. I've almost shut down probably 15 times. I'm just super stubborn and I didn't want it to shut down. And I've just put so much literal blood, sweat, and tears into this place. All of my employees have. They've helped out and volunteered through COVID.
A fundraiser launched for Stonehouse has already reached thousands of dollars within days. She says she's grateful for the support and is pursuing a different plant-based meat alternative business.
It sounds like something out of a movie. Boy meets girl, they start dating, they fall in love, and she's defrauded out of thousands of dollars. But for these women, it was real life.
He is very charming. He really focuses on what women really want.
Kim Robach met her last boyfriend on a dating site late last year. She had just launched her recruitment company in Edmonton.
He told me that he owned a business in bridge and road construction.
Everything checked out. So they decided to work together, signing contracts, leasing office space, and even hiring staff. But while money was going out, the project kept getting delayed.
He started to tell me sob stories that he was going through a separation with his ex and that his accounts were on hold because of it.
When Robach finally realized she was being duped, it was too late. Even the collateral he had given her, expensive watches, were fake.
He fooled not only me, but all of the people we interviewed, the guys that were coming on to be the management, like, he knew his stuff.
Robach was forced into bankruptcy in February after losing more than $100,000.
He told me his name was Rodney Jarvis.
Rochelle Yates lives in Vancouver. At first, her boyfriend seemed like the perfect gentleman.
He brought flowers to my work. Then Valentine's Day came. He took my mom and me both out.
It wasn't too long before the cons slowly set in.
He told me, he's like, I have a check for you. One of my clients owed me money, and I'm just going to get them to write the money or the check to your name. He's like, it's for more money, but just give me $1,500 out of it and you keep the rest for expenses.
But thanks to some sleuthing, her mother saw his wanted photo online and quickly warned her daughter before any money changed hands. Ottawa police initially issued the warrant out for Rodney Crabtree in February in relation to multiple fraud investigations in that city. He also goes by a number of other names. Investigators say he meets potential victims through online dating sites or by claiming to be a contractor developer. He then proceeds to defraud them. Investigators are concerned that there may be other victims. That's why these two women are speaking out.
The more people that see his face, the more people that know about him, the harder it's going to be for him to continue to do what he's doing.
The women believe Crabtree is still in the Vancouver area. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is being asked to contact police. In Edmonton, Rochelle Soufi, City News.
RCMP are investigating a shooting that happened last night in Burquidlam. It happened around dinner time on North Road near Smith and Farrow. Initial reports indicated two men were in an argument when shots were fired. Responding officers secured the area and found a victim who they say has received treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation is still ongoing. Anyone who was in the area last night or has video or dash cam footage is asked to get in touch with police. This is no April Fool's joke. You'll now be paying more for a few things in BC. The province has amended the PST, so there will be an extra 7% tax when you buy pop or other sugary drinks. You'll pay more to buy vaping products, including any bought online. Netflix and Spotify will also cost you a bit more as well. And the carbon tax has gone up $45 a ton, so gas prices will jump about a cent. Despite the province implementing more restrictions on Monday for a 3-week circuit breaker, BC continues to grapple with high COVID-19 case numbers. UBC mathematics professor Daniel Coombs has helped the province with its case modeling. He says the reason numbers are climbing is because of the COVID-19 variants.
The reason we're going up is largely due to the replacement of the dominant strain in BC from, the early epidemic strains which came out of Wuhan originally over a year ago, with the so-called UK strain or B117 strain. And what's been observed around the world, and BC is by no means unique here, is that strain actually seems to be more transmissible, and so it grows more rapidly.
As of Thursday, health officials reported there have been 80 more confirmed cases of the B117 strain, 1 more case of the P1351 variant, and 9 of the P1.
A 4-week province-wide emergency break is descending on Ontario this Saturday as concerns grow. The variant-driven third wave is deadlier, more contagious, and pushing hospitals past the breaking point.
This is a new pandemic. We're now fighting a new enemy. The new variants are far more dangerous than before.
The emergency break means schools stay open, but all indoor and outdoor dining ends. Grocery stores can open at 50% capacity, big box stores and other retailers at 25%. No gyms, no haircuts, outdoor gatherings limited to 5. It's very similar to what Toronto and Peel have been experiencing since November, although the government had started easing restrictions in those regions despite worsening numbers.
We've been slowly watching this unfold with warnings from doctors and the Hospital Association. Why are you only taking this action now?
We thought at the time there was under 1,000 cases, and again, with consultation with our chief medical officer and the local medical officers and all the mayors, every single one of them were saying we needed to open up. And, you know, a lot of people let their guards down.
This morning, the Health Sciences Table released its latest modeling projections with grim numbers. ICU cases are predicted to almost double to 800 cases by the end of April, potentially putting doctors in a situation where they have to decide who gets care and who doesn't. Variants pose double the risk of ending up in ICU.
You will see that COVID is killing faster and younger. It's spreading far more quickly than it was before, and we cannot vaccinate quickly enough to break this third wave.
In one case, Dr. Brown says 3 family members all had to be treated at different hospitals due to capacity issues. And all died. The Health Sciences Table points out failures, concluding vaccinations are not reaching the highest risk communities, and essential workers are bearing the brunt of the pandemic. It calls for a 4-week stay-at-home order, but the government has chosen an emergency break instead.
We are not going to be producing a stay-at-home order because we saw that last time that it had tremendous ill effect on both children and adults.
If the public is confused, it's no wonder. The government has used terms like lockdown, shutdown, gray zones, stay-at-home orders, emergency breaks, each hard to distinguish from the other, and it changes its terms on the fly. This morning, the government had this chart on its website with shutdown as the most stringent restriction. A short time later, it was replaced with emergency break. The Premier insists this is now the right course of action, but he has to convince a weary public.
We have to do it. We have to crunch down one more time for 4 weeks. It's a sacrifice that we have to take.
Throughout the pandemic, the Premier has repeatedly stated he's following the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. David Williams. Today, Williams was asked point blank if this rising third wave is due to a failure of public policy. Williams disagreed and said there has not been a failure.
Vancouver's news is always available on the radio with News 1130 or online anytime at citynews1130.com. Your next edition of City News is tonight at 11. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.